This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening everyone and welcome to Southern Cross News. A man armed with a pistol has terrorised a staff member at a small shop in Sheffield. The owner of the business believes he waited for a quiet period early this morning before launching his robbery. But the thief and his getaway vehicle were captured on high-quality CCTV, boosting police hopes of catching him.
5:35 this morning, peace in the normally pleasant town of Sheffield is about to be broken. A man armed with a silver pistol and an empty bag enters Moo Choo. The shop is empty apart from a worker in the kitchen, preparing for the day ahead, cutting onions. Brandishing his gun, he leans over the counter, shaking his bag.
When she looked, he had a bag in his left hand, the gun in his right, and he pointed the gun to the right towards her.
According to the owner, he only said 2 words, money and smokes. The thief continuing to look over his shoulder as he steals from a small family business. As authorities advise, the worker complies with his demands.
I've always taught them, whatever the customer, don't agitate them. Just give them what they want, whether it be money or whatever. And, you know, look, I hope this had never happened to any of my staff. It's a terrible thing.
Exiting the store, his sticky fingers collect another few items before driving off in the direction he came from.
It is a store that opens very early. Obviously being open at 5 a.m. in the morning is unusual for a country store, so whether there's been some premeditation in surveillance, we're not sure. That's one of the avenues we're certainly looking at.
The offender was captured on high-quality CCTV, described as 170 to 180 centimetres tall, slim build, dark clothes and wearing a balaclava and gloves. His vehicle, a maroon Ford Telstar.
We're hoping that someone will be able to identify the vehicle, if not the offender, by his mannerisms and the way he walks and the like.
The shop attendant wasn't physically harmed and was said to be okay immediately after the robbery. But for the sake of her staff and the public, this business owner is pleading for help to track the man down.
I could tell him a lot of things, I think. Like, you just don't do that to people.
It certainly is rare in any really country rural area. It is out of common, so we're certainly keen to apprehend the person as soon as we can.
If you have any information that could help police arrest this man, you can provide that anonymously through Crime Stoppers. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
Detectives are continuing to hunt for the man responsible for Friday's stabbing at the Glenorchy Bunnings. Police say a 29-year-old man received puncture wounds to his chest and back. He was treated in hospital but has since been released. The offender and victim were known to each other and the incident is believed to be part of an ongoing feud. Police haven't released details of the stabber but are still trying to locate, arrest and charge him. Any witnesses are urged to contact Crime Stoppers. The trial of a man accused of shooting an 11-year-old girl in the head has begun in Launceston. Nathan Richard Campbell has pleaded not guilty to causing grievous bodily harm to Phoenix Newitt.
Walking into the Launceston Supreme Court with his family by his side, Nathan Campbell stands accused of firing a rifle with a bullet landing in Phoenix Newitt's head, who was 11 at the time. The court heard the incident started at the Deloraine Woolworths on the night of August 29 last year. Phoenix's mother Sarah and Nathan Campbell's partner Brianna Mansell had got into a verbal fight at the supermarket, which soon turned physical, with Miss Mansell punching Miss Newitt in the face. The women then separately drove to Stag Court, which the court heard is where the shot was fired. Miss Mansell told her partner about the incident, and Nathan Campbell then came out into the street with a loaded rifle, firing 1 shot at the vehicle Phoenix was in. The Crown telling the jury the shot smashed the car window, hit Phoenix near the right-hand side of the brain, and that bullet fragments were later found in her heart and lungs. The fact that Phoenix was injured and that Mr Campbell fired the shot are not being disputed in this case by either the Crown or the defence, but rather what is being questioned is if Mr Campbell intended to injure Phoenix. His defence told the court that the injuries caused were unintentional and that steps were taken to avoid injury. But the Crown told the court a shot was still fired and that Mr Campbell was subjectively reckless. The trial is expected to run until Thursday. Jessica Moran, Southern Cross News.
Concern is growing over a federal government decision to outsource some Medicare jobs in Hobart to a Labor hire company. Federal Labor politicians gathered in Hobart today to protest the decision, which would see some administrative jobs offered to contract workers rather than public servants. The government says the decision would free up customer-facing staff, but Labor says it's an attempt to privatise Medicare.
What that will do is deny Tasmanians who've already seen job cuts from this federal government have the chance to get secure work within the Department of Human Services to provide service to the public.
Statement, Liberal Senator Erica Betts said the decision would create 10 additional local jobs and improve the service for Tasmanian customers. Salmon farming near Bruny Island is set to expand after a review of 2 proposals was accepted by the government late this afternoon. Huon Aquaculture and TasSal both applied to amend 2 marine farming development plans in Storm Bay. The recommendation to allow the expansion came after a panel considered environmental impact statements and public submissions and hearings. While the government and businesses welcomed the decision, the Greens say community consultation was disregarded. Each company will now have to apply for leases and licences and demonstrate they can meet necessary requirements before going ahead. Tasmania has today been singled out for its weak political donation policies, officially labelled the worst in the nation. Groups are now calling for real-time disclosures so voters know upfront where political parties are getting their money.
Almost 8 months on from the fevered state election campaign, Tasmania's politicians are being urged to reveal just who is funding them.
There's increasing concern, and there has been in Tasmania, that particularly larger companies are exerting undue influence. And the only way to really disprove that is by having a transparency and a disclosure regime.
In Tasmania, any money donated by organisations or individuals over $13,800 must be declared. But how much and who donated it is only reported annually.
If you make a really significant donation, it might not even be revealed for another 12 months. And voters need to know on polling day who's been funding the political campaigns of all of the political parties.
The Tasmanian public is my employer, and it's the employer of every politician in this place. And people have a right to know what we do in the time that we spend representing people.
The new Grattan Institute report urged Tasmania to follow the rest of Australia and tighten its laws. Calls today for real-time reporting and lowering the disclosure threshold to $5,000. The Premier said the government was already acting.
We are currently reviewing the laws to ensure that Tasmania's disclosure of donations and other reforms can be implemented to improve.
Meanwhile, in the latest ComSec report released today, Tasmania was named the 4th best economic performer in the nation and number 1 for relative population growth.
We've improved on each and every one of the 8 indicators in ComSec's report since 2014, and the benefit of having such a strong economy means that we've got more money to put into essential services that Tasmanians need.
The report found retail spending and home loans were also on the rise. Michelle Wisby, Southern Cross News.
Welcome back, everyone. A protest against the government's approval of helicopter access to Halls Island at Lake Malbina has been slammed as creating hysteria. The Tourism Industry Council of Tasmania claims the project has met state and federal legislated standards.
We have absolute confidence in the management plan process and the approvals process that state and federal governments have to go to, which are in accordance with law. I have absolutely every expectation that it will pass this test.
The group behind yesterday's rally says it's afraid helicopters will affect the serenity of the area. It's no secret the town of Derby is a booming bike destination, and now it's hoped that success will rub off on the rest of the state. The Tourism Council today launching a new resource to help visitors, with hopes more riders will seek out what Tasmania has to offer on 2 wheels.
The Premier testing out a new mountain bike trail before it officially opens next week. It's trails like this which have transformed the town of Derby into a major tourist destination.
Blue Derby's set up as mountain bike fanatic territory. It's become a phenomenon in mountain biking in Australia and the world.
We've got some of the best natural areas, wilderness areas in the world, and so many people, tens of thousands now, want to experience it on the back of a bike.
It's that success which tourism operators hope will rub off on the rest of the state.
About 12 months ago, the industry launched a program called Bike Friendly Businesses. What we want to do is bring the whole industry up to standard.
The Tasmanian Tourism Council today launching a new brand as part of the program to steer riders in the right direction.
A great new website which lists every bike-friendly business in the state, collateral brochures, vignettes that will be on social media. So really create a sense of camaraderie.
The state government contributing $85,000 to the program.
A large part of this is also about lifting the quality of experience that people who come to Tasmania can enjoy, but also lifting the bar on Tasmania's performance as a mountain biking hotspot.
And local business owners say the new resource is an asset to more than just visitors.
What we found happening was people are coming to the town going, we're here, what do we do? It's going to be great for visitors to Derby, or people that want to come to Derby, but it's great for the town. In the last 12 months has attracted quite a few new mountain bike businesses.
Judy Augustine, Southern Cross News.
Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. A rally from the healthcare and materials sectors has pushed the Australian share market higher despite weakness in overseas markets. The ASX 200 index rose 63 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 71.07 US cents and 55.31 British pence.
The growing divide between the Glenorchy City Council and Southern Huskies basketball franchise is threatening to shatter Tasmania's hopes of having its own NBL side, with both parties taking very different views on how valuable the Derwent Entertainment Centre actually is. It's the Huskies' proposed home base, currently owned by council. The issue is no one seems to know what it's worth.
We've engaged an expert team to give us advice about this because it's quite unique in terms of the valuation methodology. It's fair to say that the experts haven't quite agreed on the appropriate methodology.
They're not. They're counsellors. You know, they're not experts in commercial, negotiations or running businesses. They don't have any experience in it.
Having lost faith in the process, those behind the Huskies bid recently sought another opinion through the state government's Valuer General, and the two figures are understood to be millions of dollars different.
I've never said that I wasn't prepared to pay fair market value. I just don't want to get, I've been around the block a few times, and I'm not going to be, lied to, and just because they think I've got a lot of money, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to go and spend it.
Council meets tonight to decide if it will pursue the sale of the asset, with the Huskies bid so far the only expression of interest. But questions still remain surrounding just how financially equipped the consortium is to proceed with the purchase.
Mate, my company just got in the top 10 fastest growing companies in Australia, mate. I make more money, turn over more money than the actual Glenorchy City Council does.
And if council votes against the idea of unloading the asset tonight, Tasmania's hopes of having a professional sporting franchise to call its own are likely to once again go wanting.
Whilst it might be attractive to have a national basketball team in Tasmania, that can't be the sole consideration for our 46,000 residents.
They're going to be left with egg in their face and feeling very embarrassed. What do you do, mate? Can't flog a dead horse.
It was a record-breaking day in the state's Women's Cricket Premier League yesterday, with a pair of university openers putting on a partnership that beggared belief. Tasmanian Tigers recruit Ash Day belted 182 runs not out, with fellow Tiger Sasha Maloney notching up 145 also not out, for a record provisional partnership of 400 runs. University then went on to bowl Lindisfarne all out for just 61. After years of feeling hard done by with AFL fixturing, Tasmania has been awarded one of the better games for the 2019 JLT Community Series, with 2017 premiers Richmond set to take on Hawthorn at UTAS Stadium in a Saturday night clash on March 9. Clubs are set to travel all over the country for the pre-season competition, including matches in Morwell, Shepparton, Ballarat and Mackay, but Hobart's Blunston Arena missed out on the action.
Good evening. Another cold start today. Overnight temperatures up to 5 below average. If it doesn't warm up soon, I might have to go on holidays again. Hobart and Burnie 15 degrees, Launceston 19 and Devonport 16. Fine and clear though across the state, considering it was cold. The top was 20 at Ouse, Bushy Park and Campania. Flinders Island, Friendly Beaches and Fingal 18. Strawn and Grove 17. Low Head and St Helens 16 today. King Island and Lyawini 15 degrees. Early cloud over the west and south soon disappeared, with just a little convective cloud hitting the north and northwest. Our cool onshore airstream also brought low-level cloud to southern Victoria and South Australia. A cloud band ahead of a front is near Western Australia. Troughs have brought thunderstorms to southeast Queensland and to central parts. Tomorrow a cold front approaches and crosses Tasmania, while those surface troughs continue to dominate the North Island. The winds west-northwest at 15 to 25 knots, reaching 30 knots over southern waters, lighter winds inland. Strong wind warning from and including Flinders Island to St Helens Point and from Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point. Hobart tomorrow. Cloud increasing and maybe a late shower, 21 the top, 20 the high for Adventure Bay with showers later, late shower 2 for Tarraleah, a cooler day there. Partly cloudy in Launceston, 21 the maximum, 19 the top for Devonport, fine but partly cloudy in Bridport and 18. Partly cloudy for Burnie, 19 the maximum, 17 for Strawn and Marrawar with a shower or two increasing later in the day. Partly cloudy in the east, 22 degrees for St Helens, 21 for Swansea, a bit cooler for Whitemark on Flinders Island. UV peaking at a very high 8 in the north and east. On Wednesday, fine apart from showers over Bass Strait and later over the northeast. Showers developing on Thursday, increasing to rain in the north and west, and rain over the north and west on Friday, extending statewide in the evening. Partly cloudy in Perth. Warm and sunny for Adelaide and Melbourne, fine as well for Canberra and Sydney, a partly cloudy 26 in Brisbane. And current conditions fine, clear and sunny and temperatures in the mid-teens. Hope for a warmer forecast later in the week, Jo.
Ah, that'd be nice. Thanks, Murph. That's all from the team for now. Have a lovely evening. See you a little later. Bye-bye.